Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today we'll be covering Avengers Annual number 12 from 1982. This one is probably one of my top 10 favorite standalone Avengers stories. In other words, everything in the story is completed all in this one issue. You don't have to read any other issues. So here we have another example of an Avengers Annual with a rather lackluster Al Milgrom cover and absolutely dazzling interiors, which we're going to be getting into here in a moment. The other Avengers Annual, of course, I'm referencing, folks will know, is the glorious Avengers Annual number 10, which featured, again, a sort of lackluster Al Milgrom cover and gorgeous Michael Golden, Armando Gill interiors. So here we have elements of the current team plus a few more on our cover. Captain America, the Vision, the Scarlet Witch, Star Fox, the Wasp here in the center of this stylized Avengers A, She-Hulk, Thor, and Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau's version of Captain Marvel. Our tagline is Earth's mightiest heroes battle the moon's mightiest heroes, the uncanny Inhumans. I should add that this cover is inked by Synod, but it's less the figure work and just more of sort of the arrangement going on. There's not a whole lot going on. The Avengers are sort of just standing. I don't know why editorial did what they did, but they seemed to eschew a battle scene on this cover and just kind of went with the Avengers lineup. And it's certainly, as a kid, I bought this off the rack, caught my eye, cool, but it pales in comparison to about what we're about to see inside. And we have our great Byrne corner piece with the floating heads of Cap, Wasp, Scarlet Witch, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Star Fox. So very cool. And this one did retail for $1. And this is the direct market edition because it's got the stylized Marvel M and the Spider-Man rather than the UPC. All right, let's get into it. Excellent splash page. Stan Lee presents The Mighty Avengers. Armed escorts are something new to the Avengers. Heaven knows they don't need one. And we have this security guy talking on what looks like a primitive cell phone or walkie-talkie. Maintain positions, security, but keep it subtle. We'd like it to be our secret that the Avengers have arrived. So we've got this great splash page with Star Fox and Thor, Cap, Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, and the Wasp. And we can already tell that this is not Al Milgrom artwork. And then from that splash page, we have this double splash page that is just stunning. And the title of our tale for this issue is Moonrise. Our creative cast, Bill Mantlo is the scripter. Butch Geis / Jackson Geis does the breakdowns. Rick Magyar is the finisher. Rick Parker is the letterer. Carl Gafford, one of my favorites, is the colorist. Mark Grunwald is the editor, and Jim Shooter is editor-in-chief. So we have this awesome scene of the Avengers being brought before the Security Council of the United Nations in this amphitheater. And we can see the Avengers here in the foreground with awesome colors by Gafford as they're sort of limned by light and shadow at different angles. Very cool. And man, this artwork is a feast for the eyes. And we see off in the background here the looks like the distinctive forms of the Fantastic Four, surrounded in a horseshoe-shaped table by members of the UN Security Council. And that security guy from the first splash page says, "Avengers, you have been summoned before the Security Council of the United Nations." And the Wasp confirms it. "That's the Fantastic Four standing in front of the podium." She-Hulk asks, "What are they doing here?" And Star Fox replies, "The same question could be asked of us, She-Hulk." So, and there we notice too that on the screen we see the moon. So, apropos of the title, this is going to be focused on what's going on the moon. And go on to our next page. "Welcome to the Witch Hunt, Avengers," Thing says. What is it, Thing? Why have we all been called here? Cap asks. If you'll all take your places, the hearing can commence. Hearing? Captain Marvel questions. What is this? The Spanish Inquisition? The She-Hulk, ever the litigator, is interested in helping out here, perhaps defending the FF. And this security official further explains. Ambassadors, as per your request, the Fantastic Four and Avengers stand before you. Come on, let's get this show on the road, Thing says. The 5 people behind the podium represent power, the power of the nations both alone and united. Yes, I would like to thank you all for the swift response to our urgent summons. I object. On what grounds, Ambassador Grigorovich? My nation has already lodged a formal protest against the calling of the American superheroes before this body, especially when it is the American Fantastic Four who have already endangered the Earth. So, of course, the Soviet/Russian ambassador is very much anti-U.S. heroes. And the Thing is having nothing of it. What? Endangered? Listen up, Mr. Ruski. The FF has saved the Earth more times than you can count. And Cap wants to know if the FF is on trial here. And so the Avengers are kind of taken aback by all this that's going on. And we're about to find out more details of what has made the UN Security Council so angry. And Mr. Fantastic asks, I believe the Avengers have raised the very same questions I might have asked, honored ambassadors. If we stand accused of something, we'd like to know the nature of the charge and hear the evidence against us. Yeah, the Human Torch replies. Mr. Richards, please, this is only an informal hearing, which may lead to formal charges. Present the evidence. Right. This whole affair began a few months back with the widespread sightings of a huge UFO, unidentified flying object. The SHIELD space platform picked it up and tracked it across the Asian continent. But curiously, they lost track of it over Africa due to some still unexplained jamming of their tracking instruments. Great shot in this panel here of Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan and an unnamed SHIELD tech tracking the actual movement of the mass. After months of investigation, SHIELD found what they believed to have been the UFO during a routine reconnaissance of the moon. In an area usually hidden from view by a cloud of lunar dust, they found an entire city which did not exist there during the last survey 2 months before. So now we're kind of, for us savvy Marvel readers, especially FF readers, we're kind of understanding what all the hubbub is now. A city programmed to respond to the unexpected satellite's tracking cameras zoomed in and recorded this. So we can see here in this panel what looks like Inhumans just doing their Inhuman thing in Attilan, which we now, or if we didn't know, we now know is in the blue area of the moon. And I believe it was FF240 where that incredible story I'd like to cover one day on the show, where that momentous event transpired. Clearly, the region heretofore known only as the Blue Area is not only habitable, it is inhabited by a race of beings possessed of incredible science, technology, and appears superhuman powers. Beings, honored ambassadors, who are not human. Inhabiting Earth's moon in a strategic orbital position, but not human. No, Ambassador Grigorovich, the occupants of the city of Attilan are not human. They are the Inhumans, Reed Richards offers. And here he tells the tale of the origin of the Inhumans, trying to explain to these ambassadors how they came to be, how they were created by generations and eons ago by Kree scientists who visited Earth and did experiments on primitive humans. So, and then the Chinese ambassador is very much nonplussed by learning that Attilan was once in the Himalayas. In the backyard of the great People's Republic of China, there had been rumors. You knew of these Inhumans, yet did not report to this body or my country? Ambassador Ling, the Inhumans wish to dwell apart from us, and for their safety and ours. So now they're recounting more of the previous history of the FF and the Inhumans. Having come to know and respect them, the FF tried to free them from their hidden land. All our powers paled in the face of the barrier thrown up by a renegade Inhuman, Maximus the Mad. Brother to Black Bolt, the Inhuman's king, it was Black Bolt's power, his incredible voice, which finally freed his race. From that time on, the Inhumans sought to live only in peace. An invasion by a group of scientists named the Enclave destroyed that dream. Endeavoring to defend themselves, most Inhumans fell prey to a debilitating disease. Atoning for his past wrongs, Maximus routed the Enclave, only to fall in battle. It was I who deduced that the cause of the Inhumans' affliction was the polluted atmosphere of the Earth. So where the heck can they go, Stretcho? Where on Earth can we Inhumans dwell safely? Nowhere on Earth, Medusa, but there is a place. A little callback to that issue of FF. And here we see the Thing in his previous sort of non-rocky, chunky dinosaur hide form that he briefly had after a failed attempt to return him to his human state. Reed goes on to explain further about the movement of the city from the Earth to the moon. As I said, Attilan had been moved before now. It had to be moved again. Black Bolt's incredible voice ripped the Citadel free from Earth, and huge anti-gravity generators drove it to its current location, the blue area of the moon. Cap says, the perfect solution. But the Wasp asks, was it, Cap? And the She-Hulk replies, if it were, I have a hunch we wouldn't be here today. And the ambassadors add to that worry. A superhuman race living on Earth, and you never revealed their existence? Worse, you moved that race to a strategic position from which it could one day attack our world. If the Inhumans had wanted to attack Earth, they could have done it a whole lot easier from the Himalayas. A great shot here of the torch flaming on as he gets upset. Another awesome shot here from our art team of Reed using his stretch powers to barely hold the Thing back as he rages. In fact, they got off this dust ball because our pollution was killing them. Settle down, you two. You're just making things worse. And the torch replies, nuts. My sentiments exactly, hot shot. I can understand your concerns, honored ambassadors, but if you seek some manner of reassurance that the Inhumans pose no threat to Earth, the FF will be glad to journey to the moon to procure it. No, the Fantastic Four have acted without authorization once already. If there is to be any determination of a possible threat posed by these Inhumans, the Avengers will provide it. Us? Captain Marvel asks. That's what the man said, She-Hulk replies. Great look here by the She-Hulk in this issue. This is before they sort of figured out a good costume for her. So here she's just kind of in workout gear with a headband, a very 80s look. Kind of cool though. I mean, this art team is so good that they could pull just about any costume off. So here the Avengers get their remit for this mission. Yours will be a fact-finding mission, the results of which Earth will use to decide whether or not to enter into a treaty with these entities on the moon. Well, the Wasp replies, if the Security Council requests us to undertake such a mission, when do we pack? So, great shot here of the Wasp in the foreground, and in the background, a video image of Attilan. So we waste no time in this story. On our next page, we see an Avengers Quinjet. Not long thereafter, the Avengers Space Quinjet makes the 230,000-mile journey from Earth to the moon. Alerted by Reed Richards to the Earth heroes' imminent arrival, the royal family of Attilan comes forth to greet them. Great shot here of the Avengers debarking from their Quinjet and the Inhuman royal family meeting them. In the name of all the Inhumans, I bid you welcome. May fate decree that we ever be friends, Medusa says. We Avengers can only say amen to that, Medusa. I'm going to stop here quickly just to talk about the luscious artwork in this issue. So our credits list Butch Geis, Jackson Geis as a breakdown artist, and Rick Magyar as a finisher. So I've sung Butch Geis' praises on the channel before. He's got an incredible career. He was one of the artists who succeeded Michael Golden on Micronauts and had a long run on that title, just doing excellent work. And there are issues of that series I'd like to cover here. He did the X-Men Micronauts miniseries, which is awesome. He had a long run on Flash when Flash came out of the Crisis on Infinite Earths with Wally West as the Flash. He's just done so many things. He had a really fun run on Doctor Strange in the late 80s, early 90s. And Rick Magyar is just an incredible inker. And in this case, I think he's doing even more of the heavy lifting. He has inked or drawn over 800 comics in his long career. He had runs on ARAC. He worked on a number of other titles. He was on the 2008 Guardians of the Galaxy reboot series, inking Paul Peltier's incredible pencils. Just a storied career. And this was one of the early stops in his career. And man, a lot of this stuff screams Michael Golden in both how it's laid out and just how the figures are articulated. Just wonderful. And Carl Gafford's colors sure do help. So back to our story. It has truly been too long between gatherings, friend Avengers. It's been so long that you've yet to meet the Avengers' 3 new members. Royal Family of Attilan, allow me to introduce the She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Star Fox. So Cap introduces the new members. Captain Marvel says, a pleasure to meet you. The moon. We're actually on the moon, she thinks to herself. Keep in mind, she's still a rookie hero and hasn't seen that much yet. And here also, baby Luna is introduced to the Avengers. She's still a newborn at this point. The daughter of Crystal of the royal family and the mutant Quicksilver, who's chosen to live among the Inhumans because he loves Crystal and they're married. And then we see the Vision and Scarlet Witch, who were not at the original meeting but were included here because of their obvious ties, because Scarlet Witch, Wanda, is Quicksilver's sister. I, who was once an Avenger, am honored to have you visit our home and glad that my sister and her husband have accompanied you. I have not seen the Vision and the Scarlet Witch since we were last here. So that's a callback to their recent first limited series where the two found out they were actually the children of Magneto. And great shot here of Medusa. She says, but surely you haven't come all this way just to renew old acquaintances, have you, Avengers? No, Cap says. I'm afraid we haven't. We're here because of your presence on the moon. It has been discovered. There's concern among Earth's authorities about the strategic implications of people living within striking distance of Earth. What? But we left Earth, Gorgon says, because the humans had polluted our common ancestral home. So the Inhumans are obviously mistrustful and bummed out that the Avengers have shown up to check on them to make sure they're not a threat. It's very insulting, but what choice did the Avengers have? They had to make the mission. But here comes Black Bolt, the supremely powerful and unchallenged leader of the Inhumans and the royal family. And he comes forward and shows the sign of peace with his open hands of friendship. And so things seem like they're going well here. Then accept the hospitality of Attilan, Avengers. For this day, we have much to celebrate indeed. Great shot here of the participants in the issue. Cool use of scale. Karnak, very short, though powerful melee fighter. He's kind of like Wolverine in his short stature. Very cool character. Always liked his design. Great Kirby designs on display here. And our art team is very true to those designs. And we can see She-Hulk resplendent in her full 80s superhero outfit when she's got she's rocking the leg warmers as well. Business matters resolved, the Avengers turn to sampling the pleasures of the fabled city of Attilan. It appears that Lockjaw has become attached to you, Star Fox, Triton says. And humans don't bite if they like you, do they? So Star Fox is a little a little nonplussed by Lockjaw being so keenly interested in him. Captain Marvel says here in this panel, yes, everyone's so different here. Something like the Avengers, only multiplied 100-fold or more. It's almost overwhelming. And Thor replies, its grandeur rivals that of my native Asgard. So here, as they're touring the city, they come upon a very solemn chamber. To the royal crypt, Wasp, that we may pay our respects to the dead Maximus. So Maximus, who died fighting the Enclave, who was trying to destroy the Inhumans. We're going to get a bit of background on that here. Yes, Maximus, better known as Maximus the Mad, brother to Black Bolt and once an enemy of his people. You say that Reed Richards told you how Maximus saved you from the Enclave's assault on Attilan. But did Mr. Fantastic tell you that it was Maximus the traitor who initiated the Enclave attack? Ever jealous of Black Bolt, Maximus had sworn to destroy him, even if it meant destroying all Attilan. Excuse me. He came close. Our city lay in ruins. The royal family were captives. All seemed lost. Then, on the dark eve of our destruction, Maximus the Mad apparently regained his sanity and rushed in to the rescue of his race. Having conspired with the Enclave, he knew their strengths and their weaknesses. The latter he exploited with a vengeance. Their invasion routed, the Enclave fled, but not before instructing Maximus in how they dealt with false friends. Thus, the traitor died a hero. So, good little recap here, and we see Black Bolt cradling Maximus's seemingly dead form. And as the crew leave the crypt, we notice Lockjaw approaching Maximus's body in his clear coffin here. Looks like Lockjaw's lost interest in you, Star Fox. Never having visited the royal crypt before, the Inhuman's dimension-spanning friend finds his curiosity piqued by a familiar scent. An impossible scent. So here we see Lockjaw sniffing at the crypt and then sniffing at Black Bolt as he is leaving, and Black Bolt has a curious look on his face. As he passes out of the chambers, Lockjaw glares at Black Bolt with suspicion. But it is a gesture unnoticed by the Inhumans, Silent Monarch, and the somber Avengers. Darkness descends upon this royal crypt. Within that darkness, the eyes of Maximus open wide and scream soundlessly for succor that never comes. So something is amiss here. Well, I guess we've accomplished the mission. In the hands of you Inhumans, the moon is certainly no threat to Earth. So they decide that in light of that fact, they're going to have a party to celebrate. You Inhumans sure know how to make a group feel welcome, Cap says. The pleasure is ours, Captain, Gorgon replies. And Thor, of course, good mead. Great shot here of She-Hulk dancing with Triton. And you can see Star Fox here surrounded by some Inhuman females. He's always a player. Great shot here of some other unnamed Inhumans. Well, there's Stalor in the background, but I'm not sure who this butterfly-winged female that Star Fox is cavorting with is. Don't know if she's ever been named. Star Fox seems to have found some Inhuman admirers. Yes, I've noticed how he can turn on the charm. And here he says, so there I was, alone against a planet load of Amazon warriors. How did you ever get out of that one, Star Fox? And he asks, get out? And here Cap walks by Black Bolt, who's sitting silently on a throne. And there sits Black Bolt, apart from it all, Cap thinks. And Vision notices Cap and says, you are observing Black Bolt, Captain America. Yes, I've seen solemn kings in my time, but Black Bolt seems incapable of enjoying himself. Perhaps he broods over his brother's death. I think it's more than that from what Quicksilver tells me. Excuse me. So here, after talking to Quicksilver off panel, the Scarlet Witch approaches Medusa with her misgivings about Black Bolt, and Medusa says that he has not been the same for a very long time. And so the Scarlet Witch approaches the Vision and asks him to maybe help her follow up on her concerns, and he doesn't want to have any of it. And again, this art team's version of Vision and Scarlet Witch, very classic and excellent. I like the kind of longer headdress tops of the Scarlet Witch's costume. Very cool. Here we have a cool panel. She-Hulk trying to give Lockjaw a scratch. Come on, Rover, don't be shy. I won't hurt you. And Crystal says, our canine friend seems upset over something. Oh, this is Quicksilver says, our canine friend seems upset over something, Crystal. All he needs is someone to scratch under his chops. Hey, and he teleports away right next to Black Bolt. His electron-charged antennae teleports Lockjaw close to Black Bolt. Again, a certain scent assails his senses. But what Lockjaw knows, he dares not tell yet. And then later, we see the Medusa sleeping a fitful sleep, and she's having a terrible dream. And she awakens, and with her really incredible way they draw her amazing superhuman flowing hair, which is her trademark power. She's really cool. She says to herself about Black Bolt, I feel as if I no longer know you, as if you no longer were the man I loved. And next on the page, the caption reads, prophetic words, as Black Bolt returns to the royal crypt. So here, impossibly, Black Bolt speaks. Sleeping well, brother? Black Bolt speaks. Amazingly, all Attilan does not crumble to ruin about his head. I'm sorry I cannot spend more time with you, brother, but the fateful moment has come. The sarcophagus slides aside to reveal a hidden stairway as Black Bolt descends into the dark bowels of the moon. The open eyes of Maximus again seem to shout frustratingly a silent alarm. Great shot there of the pathos on that face. And another cool shot of slumbering heroes, this time Vision and Scarlet Witch. I always like when they show the Vision outside of his costume because you really get to see kind of what he looks like without the super garb that he normally wears. And he's just basically a bald, jacked dude. Kind of similar to the Marvel Cinematic version that we got later, much later after this. Wanda, what? Earth, under attack, Vision, death and destruction, panic and terror everywhere. It was only a dream, my wife, made more real perhaps because of your mutant sensibility to such unconscious states. Logic won't erase how awful it was. And then, before the Vision can further mollify his wife, that familiar cry is heard. Avengers, assemble! And in the corridor beyond, what is it, Cap? Why did you wake us? What's wrong? I was in the Quinjet, Wasp, when a distress call came from S.H.I.E.L.D. Great characterization there. The idea that Cap, everyone else is slumbering, but Cap senses something, and his battle instincts were correct, so he was kind of in the Avengers Quinjet, monitoring for danger, and indeed he found danger. S.H.I.E.L.D., the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage Law Enforcement Division, Gorgon. They maintain monitoring systems all about Earth. So what are they distressed about, Cap? The Wasp asks. This, Wasp. Cap shows his wrist video viewer here. Little primitive iWatch. This tiny wrist video flickers, then sharpens into a terrifyingly live image being transmitted to the moon from Earth. Wanda's dream has become a reality. So the Scarlet Witch does have some bit of prophetic power here. As we can see, these meteors are threatening the Earth. Odin's beard, Earth under attack. By whom, Thunder God? From where? According to S.H.I.E.L.D. Quicksilver, from the moon. What? Are you accusing us? Of course not. But if Earth is under attack from the moon, and your people are the only ones here. Thor, Wasp says, because she is the leader of the Avengers at this point. And I love this Wasp costume. It's a good one. You're the only one who can possibly stop all of the moon rocks before they strike Earth. Say no more, Wasp. Filling his mighty lungs with the oxygen-rich air of the moon's blue area, Thor launches himself spaceward. Great long panel. I love the long panel, and it's used very well here. This time on the right side of the page. Normally you see him on the left side of the page. But Thor takes off, streaking into space. A thunder god has fought beside the Inhumans before. He knows them to be honorable, strange to treachery. For Black Bolt to have offered his hand in friendship and then to have ordered an attack upon the Earth might seem inconceivable. Yet Earth is attacked. Thor soon discovers the source of that onslaught. Lunar rocks catapulted through the negligible gravity of the moon and out into space, on a course leading to certain collision with the Earth. 'Tis a scheme most sinister, one which the son of Odin will not allow to succeed. Hurled from its master's hand, Thor's Ural hammer, Mjolnir, reduces massive moon rocks to rubble, and though momentarily deprived of his weapon, the god of thunder still possesses substantial power of his own. Great scene here, and this is a great way for Mantlo, an expert scripter and plotter, to remove Thor from the melee that we're about to get into, because without Black Bolt, there's not a person in the Inhumans that could touch Thor's power class. Black Bolt and Thor would be a good matchup. Thor against the other Inhumans, no contest. So now Thor is out of the way, dealing with this stellar threat. And normally, had Iron Man been here, he'd probably be right beside him, helping him out, similar to what happened in the Thanos War. But that's not the case. So Thor is sort of off the board when it comes to this pending conflict with the Inhumans, dealing with this other threat to Earth. And a great shot of him in space, using his awesome godlike powers to deal with the threat. Meanwhile, back on Attilan, on the blue area of the moon, tensions are rising. Gorgon, check your wrath, Karnak says. I do not like being accused of betrayal, Karnak. Nor do I like hearing my adopted home slandered, Quicksilver says. Yeah, well, names won't hurt you, but those moonstones are going to break Earth's bones, She-Hulk says. Wanda, Vision, dear sister and brother-in-law, you have ties to both humans and Inhumans. Can you not mediate a peace between our peoples? We must determine responsibility for what is occurring. So Black Bolt shows up, and rather than try to tamp down the rising fury, he actually, in this incredible panel, where it's actually just sort of an open panel with just the figure, which is awesome because it just focuses your attention entirely on him and the Kirby crackle around his Electron headpiece, he incites the Inhumans to battle. For, if she understands the gesture right, Black Bolt has just declared war on Earth and ordered the execution of the Avengers. Medusa says, Black Bolt, and Wasp asks, why? Prepare yourselves, Avengers, Cap says. Great shot here of the two teams about to clash. And here it is. Here we go. It's on. So Gorgon, utilizing his incredible strength and the seismic powers of his supercharged hoof-like legs, kicks up a bunch of debris. Great panel, straight-on panel here where She-Hulk gets her super tough bod up and blocks the rocks coming in, knocking them into shards. And here, not sure why he would do this because of his suspicions, but Lockjaw joins the battle and latches onto Cap's shield. Eh? Lockjaw fastened onto my shield? Here is a great panel of Triton and Star Fox squaring off. I will draw the Inhumans' pet away, Captain America. No, for you shall be plagued by problems of your own, Star Fox. And here Quicksilver briefly wonders where he stands, but he knows where he stands. He streaks into battle. Wanda says, Quicksilver, my brother, no. But then here, she and Crystal start to duel with their powers. Very cool. Mutant witch and elemental inhuman duel, and the resulting clash is truly staggering. Great sequence here of Vision going against Karnak. Meanwhile, Wanda's android husband enters the fray, pitting his intangible ghost-like form against the mighty fists of Karnak the Shatterer. You cannot harm one you cannot touch, Karnak. Perhaps, Vision, perhaps not. So here, Cap is still beset by Lockjaw's iron grip. This is embarrassing. While the other Avengers confront the thinking Inhumans, I can't even pry my shield from the jaws of the stupid dog. Great panel there. Here's an awesome panel, too, series of panels of Star Fox using his psionic power to charm individuals to get Triton off of him. Triton is super strong. Star Fox is super strong. They're a pretty good match against each other. But Star Fox instead always prefers to try and get out of these combats with charm versus violence. And so initially his power works, but Triton is leaning into this fountain and the water revitalizes him. And he chides Star Fox. Ha ha ha. I am ashamed of my momentary weakness, Avenger, as you should be for leading me to the water that gives me the strength for victory. And so he smashes Star Fox with a wave of water. Here, Quicksilver is trying to square off against Captain Marvel, and she's as fast as light in her energy form, and she re-solidifies and nails Quicksilver with a punch, a left hook, thok. And he gets up, gathers himself. That was good, Captain, very good. Your predecessor would be proud. But still, I suggest that you have much to learn, especially about containing the fastest mutant alive, or especially about counting the fastest mutant alive out too soon. So he gets the old speed vortex going and disorients her by spinning around her. Revisiting the Karnak and Vision fight, some of my favorite panels of this issue. Elsewhere, and trying to harm me, you only harm yourself, Karnak. At will, I can alter the density of my body, making it as hard as diamond, or turn intangible and freeze you to the very marrow of your being by passing my hand through you. Arg! You may have caused me pain, android, but you also have provided me with the opportunity to probe your strengths. It is my talent to see the weakness and stress points in all things, including intangible things. By vibrating my hand like so, I can touch the untouchable. So he hurts the Vision just as Vision just hurt him. Excellent use of Karnak's power there. Very slickly done by Mantlo and the art team. Cap thinks to himself, the Vision, Captain Marvel, and Star Fox have all fallen. We Avengers aren't doing much avenging, and I certainly haven't been much use, and I've had about enough of that. Let go, Lockjaw, unless you want your teeth replaced with dentures. And so Cap frees his shield and himself and uses the energy from Lockjaw's powerful jaws to catapult forward and take Karnak out. Meanwhile, in the background, we see She-Hulk squaring off in close quarters with Gorgon. And that's a perfect transition to this panel, which features their conflict. You're really something in the Thundering Who's department, Gorgon. There's only one problem. Steel toes can't compensate for a glass jaw. Crow! So She-Hulk, with a right uppercut, knocks Gorgon unconscious. And Captain Marvel recovers herself, turns into bright, coherent light, and shocks Quicksilver out of the fight. Meanwhile, the Wasp and Medusa have wisely chosen not to battle. Instead, Medusa decides to confront Black Bolt. And as she's doing that, She-Hulk gets in on the action. That's just what I've been itching to ask you, Fork Face. Forgetting in the heat of battle the danger of her action, She-Hulk grabs hold of him and demands, talk, fella, or else. Unhand me, you savage. Black Bolt speaks, and everyone prepares for the inevitable leveling of Attilan. Oh, gee, I forgot about this guy's got to make with the Harpo routine, or else catastrophe strikes. Hey, wait a minute. Nothing happened, Captain Marvel adds. No tremors, no aftershock. Black Bolt spoke. and we're still all alive, Cap says. Imposter, Medusa shouts as she grabs him with her powerful locks of hair. So here we see the combatants recovering from the battle. Black Bolt is still a prisoner, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on here. Whoever you are possessing the body of my beloved, I advise you to speak, or I'll wring the truth from you. And then Gorgon says, Lockjaw, where are you? He senses the truth, Gorgon, and he intends to lead us to it. So finally, Lockjaw is paid attention to, is noticed, and he teleports the whole lot of combatants, or former combatants, back to the crypt. Lockjaw's brought us to the body of Maximus? Of course, that's the only logical answer, Cap says. Well, will somebody please explain it to the rest of us? Scarlet Witch asks. Oh, great ad for the Saga of Crystar Crystal Warrior action figures from Remco. I had almost all of these, and they were awesome toys. Super durable, worked well with any other 3 3/4 inch action figures at the time. Yeah, just tremendous figures. I was sorry that there weren't more of them, more variety. Back to our story. You heard the Scarlet Witch, Maximus. Explain. This is Maximus? I thought he was dead, She-Hulk asks. No, She-Hulk. Somehow he must live, and he has escaped the body of and he has usurped the body of my beloved, as well as Attilan's throne. Yes, it's true. I admit it. Then, if Maximus occupies Black Bolt's form, our liege must be imprisoned within Maximus. We must free him, but this sarcophagus was grown from crystal harder than diamond. What's more, it was so designed that any break in its surface would seal itself almost instantly. The body, then, lies within what is basically a living diamond, Vision asks. Yes, Vision, but with luck, our powers combined might yet free him. So it's great. Karnak and Vision work together while they fought just moments before, now work together to solve the problem. And together, with creative use of their powers, they free the body of Maximus, which presumably has the Black Bolt's mind trapped within it. Kind of a Freaky Friday thing going on here. Black Bolt, oh my love, it is you. But how was he trapped in his brother's body, the Wasp asks. That, I think, will soon be explained. Black Bolt? So we have Maximus still within Black Bolt's body, but afraid as Black Bolt approaches in his own body. And through some amazing process, the two come together here, and suddenly Black Bolt is restored to his body and Maximus to his own. And when sight has returned, Black Bolt, yes, you must be. I knew he wouldn't hurt me. Not his own brother. He loves me too much. So here we're about to learn how this all happened. Yes, Maximus, Black Bolt loves you, despite what you are, despite all your crimes and your scheming. But what has the schemer done this time? And how is it that he lives? Triton asked, the question on our minds as well. Speak, Maximus. The rest of us are not inclined towards mercy, as is Black Bolt. So Gorgon wants a piece of Maximus at this point. You must understand, I only aided the Enclave in order to gain my rightful position. As ruler of Attilan, I never suspected that the Inhumans would fall victim to the Earth's pollution during the offensive. When the Enclave leaders realized our people's helplessness, they decided to press the advantage over my objections. Their decision to execute the captive Medusa was the final straw. I turned on my Inhuman allies, and they were driven from the Great Refuge. But the weapon I rashly used was not adequately shielded, and I was thrown into a deep, death-like coma. As I have learned, all Attilan mourn me, the fools. If they had listened to me in years past, we would have subjugated mankind, ending his befouling ways. Then we would not have been forced into exile upon the moon. Ah, 'twas the moon which proved my salvation. For in a cavern far beneath the lunar surface, there was a crystal of power which brought mass hallucinations upon the Inhumans and awakened the powers of my slumbering mind. So here there's telling us to see FF 248 for that story. While Black Bolt was still in a confused state from the hallucinations, I was able to accomplish that which had never been possible. I transferred minds with my hated brother. Then, as ruler of Attilan, it was simple to secretly reestablish contact with the Enclave. You again allied yourself with our human foes? For good reason is he called Maximus the Mad, Triton adds. No, don't you see? Our strategic location, combined with the Enclave's tactical expertise, makes us invincible. Even now, destruction rains down upon the earth. Soon, all but a handful of humanity will be eliminated, and the earth will be made pure once more. Then we Inhumans will reclaim the planet that is rightfully ours. Gorgon sneers. With yourself as king, no doubt, eh? Maximus, you fool. We don't want the earth. Gorgon speaks for us all. The moon is our home now. Such are the words of the true traitors. Earth is our birthright. Drawing upon his dwindling psionic energies, Maximus unleashes a mind-numbing bolt, temporarily freezing those assembled in their tracks, even as he escapes down a stairway hidden beneath the very crypt. Earth shall yet be mine. Down labyrinthine corridors sprints the madman, until at last he reaches the underground base, where those strange Inhumans known as the Alpha Primitives labor silently for his once again allies, the Enclave. Zota, Morlach, Black Bolt is himself once more. We must flee this place. What? Just run off and abandon the meteoroid launchers? We must. I have bought us some time, but just how much I do not know. How do we know you're not trying to pull another fast one on us like you did back in the Himalayas? You can believe him, mister. This time Maximus is telling the truth, and so Lockjaw once again teleports our whole cast of heroes to the scene. The family royal and the Avengers. Lockjaw must have transported them here, following my scent. Good Lord, Morlach says. And this is an amazing panel here, hearkening back to Kirby, with all of this awesome crackle, beautifully rendered by our art team. Black Bolt deals with a lot of alpha primitives. As effortlessly as normal man taking a breath, Black Bolt channels the free-floating electrons in the air around him into a devastating force blast, directed right into the heart of the Enclave's war machines. In an instant, the infernal devices are destroyed, and in the resulting shockwave, not a single foe is left standing. Meanwhile, another great long panel here, we see Thor in space, hard-pressed. Thus ends the assault on the Earth. By my troth, the storm of rock begins to abate. The threat ends, and not a moment too soon. The air in my lungs was nearly exhausted, and not even the son of Odin can survive for long in the icy depths of space. Oh, great Doctor Strange ad for subscriptions to Marvel Comics. Very cool artwork. Not sure who it is. Hard to say. Could be Frank Brunner. Don't think it's Paul Smith, who was recently the Doctor Strange artist at the time. Could be Marie Severin. She did, I think, a lot of these ads. Oh, awesome panel here with the aftermath of Black Bolt unleashing his power. Love Carl Gafford's colors in this panel, all this red. Very cool. Didn't leave much for us to do, did he, She-Hulk says. No, but given the urgency of the situation, She-Hulk, it was about the only thing Black Bolt could do. Cap, look, those little guys are stirring. The Alpha Primitives are a hardy lot, Wasp. Freed of Maximus' domination, they can now return to their simple lives. And we can return to dealing with our traitor. You don't dare attack me, Gorgon, Maximus says. I am your brother, Black Bolt. I have as much right to the throne of Attilan. Like you, I wish only the best for our people. But fool that you are, you refuse to admit the superiority of to the humans. It is our destiny to establish domination over the earth. But Black Bolt will have none of it. Black Bolt has heard more than enough of his brother's mad ravings. He will tolerate no more this day. With infinite sorrow, he turns on his heel, gesturing for the others to lead the pathetic Maximus away to a place of confinement. And meanwhile, Thor returns for hopefully a well-earned rest. Methinks you have a tale to tell, Avengers. Boy, I'll say we have, She-Hulk says. We'll fill you in back in the Quinjet, Thor. The thing is, what do we tell the folks back on Earth? Good point, CM. What reassurance do the Earthlings have that they won't be attacked again? What reassurance have we that the Earth will not attack us? Humanity is better equipped for war than we, and it was the human scientists of the Enclave that fomented this battle, Gorgon adds. Of our people, none save Maximus have ever waged war against mankind. The Inhumans will ever seek the ways of peace. That is the solemn pledge of Black Bolt and the family royal. Great panel here. That is not technically true. Maximus once led an army of evil Inhumans. So, well, most of the Inhumans have not been aggressive toward Earth. There have been some who were, in addition to Maximus. Tell that to your leaders and ask if they can truly pledge the same. Well, what do we do now, Cap? She-Hulk asks. Now, She-Hulk, we go home and deliver Medusa's message. And we pray that our fellow man is wise enough to reply in kind, Captain Marvel says in this final panel. Great shot of the Avengers departing and the royal family kind of at a distance. Big change from the warm welcome that occurred prior to the battle. And we have a great quote from Benedict Spinoza at the end. Peace is not an absence of war. It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition of benevolence, confidence, justice. Great quote to end it by Mr. Mantlo. And a final awesome Marvel House ad for the Defenders, the quote-unquote new Defenders. This might be Kevin Nolan here. Very cool artwork for this house ad. The team consisted of Angel, Beast, Valkyrie, Gargoyle. And I think Iceman, too, was involved. So, well, folks, that has been Avengers Annual number 12. A truly excellent standalone story, packed with action and intrigue, and beautifully rendered by Butch Geis and Rick Magyar and colorist Carl Gafford. I should add, this was an extremely verbose issue, and so Rick Parker, our letterer, did yeoman work, bringing it all together and making it look good with all the artwork mixed in. So if you like this episode, please like and subscribe and tell your friends. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thank you.